The MG RX-78 version 1 Year War. This kit was based on the classic PS2 game of the same name, 1 Year War. This one I don't think made it to the Americas, which was odd considering all the Gundam games that did make it to the West during the PlayStation 2 era. If you grew up during the PlayStation 2 era, you know what I'm talking about. It was a halcyon, it was the golden age for Gundam games. They were good. Even when like GameSpot was like, oh, Encounters in Space sucks. Wrong, that game was awesome. But that's a whole other story. I found this kit to be a bit of a mixed bag. It originally came out in 2005, so it's dated. It also has the pre-molded legs that were found in the beginning stages of the RG line, but then were later abandoned for obvious reasons, and most recently featured in the PG Unleashed RX-78 Gundam. For me, it kinda sucked. I had to pop the pre-molded pistons out of the legs to paint them separately. Then you gotta cut the pistons to remove them from the pre-molded like caliper that they're inside of, for those who don't know what it's called. And to paint that separately, it was a big pain in the ass. You have to go through more to get the customization done. If you do get this and you decide to paint the pistons and the calipers, you're gonna have to drill the holes bigger, because once you paint the pistons, they won't go in the caliper because they'll be painted there for being slightly bigger due to the layers of paint. But, you know, you're probably not gonna go through all that rigmarole. Move on. Though this kit is dated, it kicked more ass than the original Master Grade Gundam, and it predates the Gundam 2.0 by 3 years. So at the time, this thing was badass. But by today's standards, I will reiterate, it is dated. But I'll say this, it's far better when it comes to posability than the Alex Gundam 2.0. So, you know, think about that. The 1 Year War Gundam is the most detailed of all the Master Grade RX Gundams, next to the Ver-Ka. Even the blaster rifle has a fair bit of detail not seen until the MG 3.0, which followed years later. But the feet are a bit of an issue. If you get it into the kneeling down and shooting up blaster pose stance or beam saber, rocket, whatever, the front of the foot rubs on the back of the foot area, and then it disconnects the top armor from the foot armor. It's like this whole, I don't know how they made this and didn't realize that there would be friction here, but I guess maybe they made it and they're like, well, it's a minute issue, move on with production. I guess I can understand. It's a minor gripe, in all honesty. It's nothing that's gonna like bother you really, but it is there. So if you painted your kits, you know that extensive rubbing can lead to scratching. The shield has no sliding feature, like the Origins Gundam, which came out in 2015. So this one relies on a peg system. You have 3 holes to fit the peg in and choose your spot. That's about it. Is it an issue? Not really, unless you really care about those sort of sliding gimmicks. The Gundam hammer, it's alright, but it's a slight pain to paint, since the linking ring in the chain is obviously separated. There's 2 of them, and to try and paint them, you have to get them in the alligator clip in such a way that you can paint most of it while also, it's kind of annoying for painting, really. Like, if you're not painting, this isn't an issue, it won't bother you. If it is, you're gonna have a problem. The beam sabers are standard fare, but they have a slight curve in them. I like that. The back thrusters are the usual up and down 90-degree motion. You know what I'm talking about. The kit out of the box requires a lot of painting for the weapons. Well, basically the bazooka, if you want it to match what the Gundam bazooka is supposed to look like. If you don't care, leave it all one uniform color gray. I forgot about the hands and the forearms. Now, if you don't use resin 3D printed hands for fixed poses, this issue in the forearms and the hands will not affect you. If you do use pre-molded hands for more, you know, a better look, because the hands that come with this kind of suck, but you know, if you're really a stickler for those sort of details, you will notice this being an issue. The white end caps that cover up the rubber poly cap that fits to the peg of the Gundam's hands, that pops off very easily, and then putting it back in place leads to a lot of scratching. It scratches incredibly easy. Now, this could be because I did use Mr. Hobby's 1000 grit primer. I haven't used Mr. Hobby primer in a long time, so I might chalk it up to that being the issue, and I will return to using guide notes. I'm sure someone will tell me my posts suck here for this kit, and we'll chalk it up half me, half the kit. The design of this kit is old school. Like, the hip joints are on a ball, a polycap, so you're not going to get the free range of movement you're accustomed to from model kits. You have to remember, this was made in 2005. That's almost, whoa, 2005. This thing's like 20, is this like 20 years old almost? 15, 20 years old? That's crazy, dude. So you can't expect it to have like the dynamic posing of the MG Barbado. Keep that in mind, but it's no slouch. It does have some posing features. You know, trying to get some good camera work down, and it just got to the point, it's like, I gotta go to bed. What am I doing? This will probably get 5,000 views. Screw this. You don't like the poses? Too bad. You unlock posing features at 10,000 views of video. My foot has been laid down. But overall, would I recommend this kit? Actually, yes, I would. There's some sort of charm and mystique about this 2005 kit. I like the overall design and aesthetic. At first looking at it, it felt kind of off to me. But then, after about a day of looking at it again, the beauty of the mobile suit began to unfold to me possibly. I don't know. It sounds a little crazy, but it just grew on me with more time. This is probably one of my favorite iterations of the RX-78. It's a great kit. It would be fantastic if Bandai did something like this again, but with a better inner frame for far more posability. It would kill. But then again, if you really want that, the PG Unleashed does exist, and I would highly recommend that too. But as far as master grades go, I do like this for what it is. It came out at a time when the master grade line was still kind of newish. It did some new things, it had some great designs, and it far exceeded all of its predecessors at the time. So yeah, this kit does kick ass. Long as you come into it knowing it's not a modern master grade, you won't be disappointed. And that should do it for me. It's time to get to work on something else. Oh yeah, painting that Li Xiaolan High New Gundam. So I can't fiddle around here all day.